Wednesday, December 2nd. Good morning. I'm Andrew Boyle. Right now in Ottawa, -2. It feels like -8. And here is the 1310 News top story. Wards in the city could be changed before the next municipal election as a committee stage passed, with amendments, a consultant report on ward boundaries. There would be 24 in the city if this passes council next week. An additional ward in the West End, which according to Orleans Councillor Matt Luloff, changes things both east and west.
So it does kind of shift the balance a little bit to the west, and under the option that was presented yesterday, it essentially divides Cumberland Ward or the residents of Cumberland Ward into 3 wards.
Now, in that ward, the original proposal was not met with very much support because it would have diluted the francophone vote. Councillor Catherine Kitts tells the Rod Snow Show the rework proposal last night keeps francophone voters basically together, some voters going to Orleans Ward, some staying in Cumberland Ward. 1310 News Time 10:02, and now your forecast with meteorologist Joel Taylor.
Periods of light snow for the Ottawa area today. A couple of centimeters could accumulate. Otherwise, a lot of cloud. West wind. Our guaranteed high 1 degree was reached early this morning. We'll sit at about -2 for the rest of the day. Chance of flurries tonight, -5, and tomorrow mainly cloudy near 3. For today, already reached the guaranteed high 1.
And right now in Ottawa, it is -2, and with the wind, it feels like -8. There should be more homegrown PPE soon in our province. A couple of companies receiving funding from the provincial government to produce masks. A Toronto company receiving $450,000 to begin making 3-ply disposable surgical masks at its Toronto facility. The province says another firm in Stratfordville will use $100,000 to expand its production of surgical masks and gowns. While vaccine approval and distribution won't happen until sometime in the new year in Canada, help is on the way a lot sooner than that in Britain. An announcement this morning shows British officials have authorized a COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use. Youth health official Matt Hancock tells Sky.
one that would touch a lot of us a lot more closely because it's like, this is real life, especially like this is real brass tacks, especially right now when you're talking about being a pandemic where one of the most important ways to protect yourself is to be able to wash your hands with clean water.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah.
So it hurts that much more. And I just wish that, I would rather they promised less and delivered more than made huge promises and not delivered.
Okay. Kate, what do you think, Kate?
Yeah, I think the Trudeau government has done a very poor job in managing expectations on this file. Obviously, it's a big promise. I think that they have been resting on the fact that Canadians perceive work being done there, and they see the promises being made, and they understand that it's a priority for the government, but it can't be much of that a priority if they continue to not meet deadlines. So, I'm not suggesting it's not a complicated challenge. It is, as Cam has said, but they need to do a better job of managing expectations, even if that means proactively moving the deadline and explaining why it has to be done. But they're the ones that set their own reach goal and they didn't meet it, and there's going to be political ramifications for that.
Jason Kenney, according to the latest survey by Angus Reid ranking the popularity of the premiers, is now the second least popular premier in Canada, in front of only Brian Pallister. What went wrong for the United Conservative Party in Alberta, Kate?
COVID would be a big thing.
Yeah, the COVID response, right?
The COVID response,
right,
there was I think it's fair to say that Kenney came in with a very ambitious agenda to reform how government was done, and government was done in Alberta. COVID threw that for a loop. Sinking oil prices threw that for a loop. And so what we saw was, in my view, an ideology and a mentality towards government that just has not jived with where we're at. And we're seeing some changes made now and a recognition that some of those bigger ambitious policies from a conservative perspective are going to be on hold, but not before too many of them were instituted. There was challenges with healthcare workers and contract negotiations, right, at a time when people are looking to those authorities as heroes and then those workers as heroes. So COVID has not been kind to Jason Kenney. I think there's a bit of a recognition that they need to change their tune. The economy being in the tank out there more acutely than even elsewhere in Canada,
right.
is a big factor as well.
Before you could blame a lot of that on Trudeau's policy, right?
That's right,
but
yeah.
You can't blame the situation and the provincial response to COVID on just Trudeau, though.
That's right. It's a bit of a double whammy. So they've got a couple more years to bring it back, but with the Trudeau government in power not being the most, how would I say, energy aligned, that's going to continue to be a challenge for Kenney.
What do you think, quickly, Cam? What do you think, Kenny?
Honestly, I think this is Jason Kenney being Jason Kenney. I think he's been himself throughout the whole thing. Okay. The problem is that it hasn't at the moment. But honestly, some of this was going downhill before COVID hit. The fact is, it was a year ago he started picking fights with doctors and having them leave the province. Obviously, that looks real bad now in the middle of a pandemic, but it was pretty bad back then. The one thing I'd point out, though, is that I think he has a hard time letting his ideology get out of the way. I read a great piece from the Calgary Herald this morning from columnist Don Braid, talking about how basically he spent more time giving certain communities heck for not following COVID measures than he has for anti-vax protesters. The fact that he's refused to fine those protests, those people attending those protests, flaunting public health rules and citing the Constitution, saying, well, I can't do that, but I can give you heck over here. It set up this really strange comparison of things that have really sent dissonant messages. And again, it kind of
They come here, St. Laurent Walk to buy the cloth. I already ordered online. Now to come to pick up. Got a coffee? I order coffee pick up here. Yeah. already order online. I already order. I just pick up. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.